This is Extinction XL. Hello, and welcome to Fallout 4 Gripes. This is an expose into some of the things that I thought could be improved on in the Fallout series going forward. First, let me say that I have virtually played Fallout 4 since launch day, and I've spent well beyond the amount of time that anyone would consider normal using the settlement system. Having a brain myself, I could not escape certain weak areas within the settlement process. I see things, I hear things, and I cannot escape them. Now, whether I love Fallout 4 or not, the basic fact remains that the settlement system, while fun, leaves many gamers wanting. Since I'm a complete noob as far as being a YouTuber is concerned, please bear with me. I really have no idea if this video can help Bethesda change or not, but I sure hope that they will try to improve their settlement system in future games. While building settlement systems can be engaging in Fallout 4, it's also frustrating, and that'll be the topic of future videos. Instead of making the same kind of arguments that everyone else does about the settlement system, I would rather talk about some of the things that I see just walking around the game world that I feel have been overlooked. One thing that is certain to me is that many of the tile sets Bethesda give us do not even match the rest of the game. How many of those concrete walls do you see? I don't think I've ever seen a building that looks like the concrete tile pieces. Now, if you guys are aware of any of those types of buildings, please let me know. I just don't see them. But do you want to know what I do see all over Fallout 4? Messy settlements that are super tough to make awesome looking without using mods. Now, I love mods. I do. I really love mods. But I also want to unlock my achievements. And for my survival playthrough, I want to beat the strictly vanilla game without cheating and then earn those achievements. And yeah, I have learned a bunch of building tricks over time that have really improved both the look and functionalities of my settlements. But it was a vicious cycle. I felt restricted by the very device Bethesda says gives us players freedom. So I struggled to build something sweet, despite them. As if the sheer amount of settlements isn't already too many, they cost us a ton of caps to fix up. Even if a player sets their settlement system up to earn them caps, the entire place is still only for the player character and does not significantly shape the Commonwealth. I felt like Sanctuary was so bad that I turned it into a sanctuary for Deathclaws. And truthfully, I've seen a lot of YouTube builds of Sanctuary, and I just didn't really like any of those ideas, so I came up with my own. So no place any player builds up will ever gain in-game notoriety like, say, Diamond City or Bunker Hill. Not even the castle. I'll come back to the castle in another future video. Right now, I'm going to reveal a weakness in Fallout 4 that once you see it, I don't think you'll ever unsee it. In a nutshell, that weakness is buildings. Everywhere. Structurally sound buildings are everywhere in the Commonwealth. These buildings are boarded up maybe, but probably they're habitable places to live. When you look around Sanctuary and compare the dilapidated houses here to the mysteriously boarded up buildings in Concord, you can easily connect the dots of where I'm going to go. I feel like Bethesda dropped the ball here. What if the player had the option to restore power to Concord? I think it makes more sense for the Minutemen to reclaim Concord and one by one resettle buildings and restore society in a place that isn't 100% torn apart. You know, kind of like the coastal cottage here. There may be raiders in the Museum of Freedom, and that's where when the lone survivor gets there, but that's easily remedied. You kill the raiders, you restore the Museum of Freedom, and take over the town. Maybe a player could go to Sturgis and ask him what is needed to restore the town. Quest could be given. Fun could ensue. But no, Bethesda gave us this destroyed place called Sanctuary, a gas station, an Abernathy farm with a zone in between that we can't even control. These are all pretty cruddy places when compared to the sizable and still soundly built town of Concord. While Fallout 4 has several flaws, I think this one is serious. I mean, who boarded up all the windows? Why can't a whole city block become available to a player after completing quest? The player could then have the option to repair anything on the buildings manually or to assign settlers or Minutemen to various tasks. The player would be charged with finding supplies and assigning recruits. Perhaps something like Fable's system of rent or another thing kind of similar might be employed, with those fees being paid to the Minutemen militia that would protect the player's assets. I know many people will say what they want about this, and maybe some players will equate the funkiness of the settlement system as being just the way Bethesda is. But the fact is, settlements are really not that useful in their current state. Another detail that I find disconcerting about the settlement system is how the settlers interact with the sole survivor, as well as vendors and the Minutemen. The repetitive dialogue and overall lack of recognition for the player character is both boring and stunning. I mean, no, I am not a synth sent here to spy on you, and no, I am not here for you. I'm the freaking general of the Minutemen, for crying out loud. I built this town. You eat because I am large and in charge. While having a jet farm or purified water setup is beneficial to the player, I'd like some respect from Marcy Long. Maybe have a settler say, "Thank you, General. I want to assign my Minutemen to guard whatever places I wish that are my settlements." I mean, really? You're an unrecognized general who cannot give orders that also carries out Preston Garvey's every whim. Weak. One thing that I find frustrating are also the attacks on my settlements, especially in survival mode. Bethesda has a system that basically rolls the dice and it determines if settlements are attacked that day or not. In survival mode, I do not always want to walk across the map to defend my settlements. I especially don't like this in my current playthrough because the Brotherhood of Steel are glitched and I cannot join them. Since I haven't yet beat the game on survival mode, I cannot access vertibirds yet. And the worst part is that even if my settlers are armed to the teeth and I have 600 turrets in the settlement, sometimes it still sustains damage if I don't respond to the attack. Lame. Where are my Minutemen? Like it or not, there are a bunch of avenues Bethesda routinely chooses to ignore in their games. I only wish that the settlement system was more streamlined and that it could be more significant and meaningful to both the Minutemen and Soul Survivor. I recently learned that Bethesda has multiple teams working on game content for the same game, and that these teams often do not communicate with the others about what they are doing. Maybe they should all take the time to find out what the others are working on, provide feedback, and help them improve the content so that it is overall better. I feel like the Minutemen and their settlements were rushed. I mean, have you ever tried building a level house without shack foundations? Wow. I think that my Xbox One lags the most near settlements, whereas if I could just settle any one of the structures I've shown here, I'd only be furnishing the place. And for the record, I might even prefer a load screen to enter my buildings rather than have to deal with broken places. The Coastal Cottage, Taffington Boathouse, Bethesda put a giant, perfectly built house in the Jabanka Plains settlement. It's all boarded up. They only gave the player access to the other broken down house there. Why? While you might find things that are cool like the Science Center in most buildings, most are just a waste of space. Why? Do I chalk all this up to the short-sightedness of Bethesda in the same way that I accept smoking buildings that are all boarded up? with no explanation as to who's residing in them? Do I accept the fall of the settlement system the same as I accept constantly burning alien ships that continue to burn no matter how long the player character explores the world? No matter where you go in the Commonwealth, when you come back to the alien craft, it's still on fire. So this is all I've got for this particular video. Feel free to subscribe or to please leave a like if you want to. I will see you in the next time with another video. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.